Welcome to the Real Journey of the Entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our 4th annual Full Circle Business Brunch.
This room is small enough but big enough that you can connect with someone. And that is the intention of the Full Circle Business Brunch experience. Being in business is not a competition. We all can win at all levels.
We come from a lot of poverty. How do you break out of a scarcity mindset as a small business?
If you keep it positive, positive will always keep you. The idea that I'm always broke, I never have enough money. You can easily say, I don't have enough money yet. And that changes how you then move forward with your next financial decision.
I'm here to help educate you all on things that you may not have known about, because we find that there's a lot of suffering that goes on when people don't know about stuff.
When you're entering into a business relationship, it's still a relationship. So you want to maintain a good rapport with whoever it is that you're transacting with. You're hiring an attorney to not only protect you, but to also be the bad guy in certain situations.
We can help you connect to people who are looking for jobs. We have 200,000 people in our job bank. We're here to help the businesses out there who are doing really the heavy lifting in our economy.
This is my 4th time attending this event. Each year it gets better and better. And it's really inspiring to see what she's doing for the community and working with the youth.
Why I wanted to start my business is because my mom was working too hard, right? I want to have my own business, my own clothing to wear on the street.
This is an amazing, amazing event with lots of knowledge for business owners, business starters, and just who's thinking about getting in the industry. Hope this continues to be an annual event for those who want to learn more about business and get into the business space.
Thank you for being a part of this transformational experience.
A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh.
It's nothing like seeing the work that you've done over the years and it culminates to something that you've written down on a piece of paper and that you bring it to pass. And with the video, for those who are watching via video, that was the 4th annual Full Circle Business Brunch experience, where we provide and connect resources to small businesses. And so to see that makes me really excited to know that I am doing what's in purpose and on purpose. Greetings, folks. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the host and the producer of the Real Journey of Entrepreneurship, where we connect resources and talk to curious and brave entrepreneurs that teach me how to become better, but also share resources in the space that helps us to grow and scale our businesses. And through the journey of the entrepreneurship, we try to tell the truth about what it really means to be in this space, right? We talk about our real journeys and our real challenges that does exist between the start of an idea and also when the item that we've been building and dreaming about comes alive, right? So we talk about, not always getting paid on time when you have specific contracts, or working and growing businesses and seeing them blow up essentially from start to finish. But in between that, also, I am the mom. I am building this dream and vision. I'm also going through now this new adulthood phase, perimenopause. So that's a new thing. That's what I call the second adulthood that I didn't learn about until I was in it. And now we have all these resources that are popping up. So my guest today is no stranger to budgets, to helping us get in order, helping us to get our mind right, helping us to figure out how are we going to take our next level of success and putting it in a responsible methodology, right? Money mindset, getting all that stuff together because we need to. Our next guest blends financial strategy, personal empowerment, and accountability through education and also coaching, providing practical tools, right? Practical tools. If we listen, because sometimes, we don't be listening. That's the truth. And I have to tell you that when we do listen, our next guest, Miss Nishaea Richardson, will help us to be on track. Don't you want to be on track for the new year? I know I do. Greetings.
Greetings. That was like the perfect introduction. Yes, we need to be on track for the new year.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. The sun is out. I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I can use a little bit more sleep, but I'm good, right? I am really good. But you know what? Before we launch into all the goodness, right?
Mhm.
Please tell the folks who you are, what you do, and let's launch. Over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Nishaea Richardson. I am a money coach, also a financial coach, whatever title fits people. But I go by the Play Money Coach because I love working with my clients to help them build a healthier relationship with their finances so they have more play money to do the things they enjoy. I feel like ultimately that's like what we do all these things for, so that we can have fun and travel and buy things and, get a house cleaner and a chef and all these things, as opposed to being stressed about money. So yeah, that's who I am and what I do.
Well, that was easy. I
Yeah.
guess I guess that was easy because if you're working with clients like how we are, what was the inspiration that really got you to start your business?
Yeah, so it was a combination of a personal inspiration, and then as well as just seeing what was happening in the world, or just like around the people that I was working with. So before I started my financial coaching business, I was actually in a multi-level marketing company, and we were offering credit restoration services and some other wealth building services. And the clients, or the people that needed the services, either they would say they couldn't afford the $79 a month, or the ones that did do it, they would find themselves in the same situation a year later. So they would get their credit restored, and then they would repeat the cycle. Now they need it again. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's not the real solution, right? The credit restoration is not the solution. We need to go a little deeper. And what does that look like? And then I realized that financial coaching is an actual thing, and people were already doing it. And there's programs and communities and courses and things that I could take to help me get there. So yeah, that was the business side of it, where I was like, oh, people need more support here. And then also I was like, I was not always good with my finances, and I wish I had someone that I could turn to that could help me with this before I made all the mistakes. So yes, that is how I got into financial coaching.
All right, don't tiptoe around the mistakes, right? So I'll share, right? Because this is how we learn, right? So
Yes.
I'll share my financial woes, right?
Mhm.
So I remember when I worked in financial services, I wanted to, always keep up with the Joneses, right? And so if you come from a financial services background, and depending on which area you worked in, it was not always full of individuals of color, right?
Mhm.
And that was the space that I was in. And I would always see the folks, because I work downtown, and I don't even know if Century 21 is still there anymore, but that was the store. It was there, Brooks Brothers, all the things, right? So
Mhm.
because I felt the desire and need to fit in, right? Because back then corporations required you to wear full suits, right? And I wanted to comply because
Yeah.
I was a part of the culture. But in the reality, I was really just trying to fit in now that I'm old enough and mature enough to really kind of understand what I was doing. And so I had an extensive amount of personal, I'm distinguishing very specifically now, personal credit cards, right? From all of the places, right? And I thought because I was working in financial services that I would have had a better relationship because I was dealing with it very frequently. Um, and it was weird because now that I look back, just because you're in something doesn't mean that you have a clear understanding of that until you learn from your mistakes. So my mistake was I did not properly manage the personal credit back then. And I left that company, went to another company, and your credit, they follow you, right? Creditors follow you. So I know now, right? So I get to the new job and I'm like, I'm making a little bit more money, a little bit more more established to spend more credit that I wasn't paying. And I remember, uh, the receptionist transferred a call to the department where I was working in. And you answer professionally. Good afternoon. This is Anita Pierce from how may I help you? Right? You're on a recorded line. I'm thinking, why the hell am I on a recorded line? Like, right, what's happening here? This is, I think, let's use Amex, right? This is Visa, whatever it was. Is this Anita Pierce? I'm like, how the hell they find me? Like,
right.
Can you imagine the load of embarrassment I felt? Like I said, the nerve. But it was also the nerve of me to feel like I wasn't responsible, right? Bare minimum, right? It wasn't like I wasn't paying. It's just that for that one, I was just like, whatever. But then you start to realize, right, how I wasn't taught properly, right? But what I did full circle was I wound up clearing up $21,000 in personal credit, right?
I love it. Yes.
Not even a house. I didn't own a car. I had zero assets. I had some investments. I at least was smart enough to have insurance back then. But imagine what I could have did with $21,000.
Right.
So that's my little story. I'm out there.
Oh, I have plenty of stories. So.
I'm out there because I did it too. But being in business, it's a lot different.
It is a lot different. And we have to like take some of the mistakes that we made in our personal finances and we have to work through those because sometimes we need to do things that maybe wouldn't have been the best choice in our personal finances that we actually have to do in our business finances to help us grow. And sometimes I have found that I bring that personal financial philosophy into my business and I'm like, okay, this is not it. So, just thinking about debt and credit cards and things like that, like just recently I was talking to one of my coaches and I was like, I can't wait to pay off my business credit card. It's going to happen by, I think like I told her like March of next year. And she's like, all right, slow down. She's like, you don't need to do that. Like, stop thinking about your business finances like your personal finance. I was like, girl, you're right. But it was true because I'm like, I don't want to keep carrying it because I'm paying for it every month. It's on my business credit. But at the same time, how else can I use this money to grow my business versus worrying about the debt? That's really not that big of a deal. So but I've had the maxed out credit cards. I've had the repossessions. I've had those phone calls at my job, super embarrassed because they calling like every day, like 11 o'clock on the dot, like, yo, what's happening? So I get it. Yes.
Yeah, I it's an interesting experience, but I wanna lean into, this idea of mindset that you started to talk about as you are have transitioned into business ownership and understanding that the relationship that we carry over from our personal life, some of them habits not really supposed to be trickling over there. So how did you yourself, or are you still resolving that process of money management within your business, and what does that look like for you?
I think it's more so I have like it's kind of interesting because I have moments where certain things pop up and I'm like, okay, we're good. We don't need to worry about that. But so just thinking about personal finances and business finances, I want people to I encourage people to improve their personal finances, because if not, it does show up in the business. So I think that sometimes people feel like, oh, well, when I'm in my business, I'll be able to manage my business finances. Okay. I won't spend all crazy. I won't, max out that business credit card with no plan. Like, no, it doesn't happen that way. It's the mindset that you have in your personal finances, it's going to show up in your business finances. So if you think that we're going to just be out here swiping and praying, or, doing DoorDash and spending $1,200 a month while you also brought groceries and wondering like, well, where did the money go? It's going to be the same thing in our business. Like, I've been around some women that are millionaires but they messed up that first million. And they all have a similar story. It's, well, I was making the money, and because it was coming in so quickly, I was hiring and I was getting this program and that program. I was investing in that coach. I was investing in this consultant. And then next thing you know, I was out of money and the revenue slowed down. And I didn't have a business savings. Then I started using my personal finances to get my business to keep going. And now I'm maxing out my personal credit cards because I'm trying to maintain this business as I continue to build again. And they all are like, I will never do that again. I won't mess up another $1 million. But it's unfortunate that they had to mess up the first million to get to the second million in a healthy way. So I said all that to say that we really need to get into a better financial space in both our personal and our business finances. And like I mentioned, sometimes you might have those moments where you're thinking like, oh, I'm just going to pay off all the debt because that's what I did in my personal finances, as opposed to saying, okay, this is different. How is this? Can I leverage this debt? Can I do something different with this so that I can make more money? Is this going to help my business grow? Or is this something that I need to invest in to help myself grow? And then that will then eventually help the business grow.
So I am so appreciative of how you pretty much dissected the almost like a mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can share that only within the past, 5-6 years, did I really understand the importance that, oh, I can borrow, right, to help my business grow. Mm-hmm. That was not, when I first started, that was not a conversation about, make sure your personal credit is good, because, when you're just getting started, that financial institutions look at those behaviors to see whether you are credit worthy, right? Because that's what when I think about it, that's what it really boils down to. Do I have, if I'm asking for money for this big dream, what is the plan for me to pay it back? That's how I've been able to resolve that for myself, right? So if I know that, as an example, I'm in government contracts very frequently, right? And again, when I first got started, I didn't know that there's sometimes it's a delay in payment. Like, how do I manage that cash flow now through lines of credit, right? That I can pull if necessary to hold me over and to pay individuals as well. So my lesson, and I'm glad you broke it down, but I also want to ask you a follow-up question about some of the clients that you work with. Are there any consistent belief systems about the clients that you work with, that am I worthy to be in these spaces? Am I worthy to have, these contracts, or working with clients, or actually just creating a business? Have you discovered any of those beliefs as a pattern through your work?
Not necessarily worthiness, but I will say that sometimes they think that they carry their past money mistakes. And I'll put it like this because it's all lessons, right? We got to make the mistakes sometimes. But they carry that, and then they're like, well, I guess it is worthiness. It's like, well, am I deserving to be in a better financial space because maybe some of the things I did with money in the past? Or it's that almost like that survivor's guilt of, well, I'm doing really well and I have family or people around me who are not doing very well, and it just makes me uncomfortable. Or, I feel like I'm the one that has to do it all and help everyone. So it's, that heaviness. But I don't necessarily, none of the clients that I've worked with actually talked about the worthiness of being successful in business, but more so of the past mistakes they've made, and just thinking that they have to just keep reliving them or holding on to them because they made them. And it's like, well, I messed it up before, so it's a good chance I'm gonna mess it up again. And I have to remind them that, no, that was the lesson. That's what you can reflect back to say, okay, I did this. That's not me anymore. Okay, I can do things differently. So yeah, thankfully I've been around some people that have some amazing mindsets. And just need a little tweaking because they're already doing the big things. And sometimes it's like, well, okay, I'm doing this big thing, but I just want to make sure my money is okay because I am doing the big things.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And one of the things that you specialize in is providing a practical, realistic wealth building tools. Now I'm going to talk about the B word, right? The
Budget.
Yes. Yes. The one that when you say budget, it's, what do you mean I gotta, yeah. So what are some of the things that many people, and we're generalizing based upon those that we tap into. So based upon those that you have worked with or during your sessions, why are we struggling out here to maintain a budget?
I think people think budgets are for broke people. Like, they like, I ain't broke, I got it. It's like, yeah, but you won't keep it if you don't get a budget.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why that word throws people off so much, but I'm like, call it what you want. You can call it a budget, you can call it a spending plan, you can call it a wealth plan, whatever makes you feel empowered about having something that you can use as your guide to manage your money every month. That's what you call it. But it's a budget. Like, it's a budget. And I like to point out to people that billion-dollar corporations have budgets. If they did not, they would not be a billion-dollar company. So why is it that we think our six figures or our $60,000 or whatever people are making is so special that we don't need a budget? Like, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Because I still be like, all right, let's get you a budget. you call it what you want, but you need something. And I love when people see how simple it can be, and they see like, oh, this actually does help me, because now they're like, oh, I'm going to always use that tool regardless of how much money I make, because I want to keep the money that I'm making. So yeah, the B word is something special.
It's tricky, it's weird, it's whatever. But because of my personal mistakes, right? And I know that I account for my humanity. And I believe you said this in one of your workshops, and I was so happy that you said that, but you have to account for things that still bring you some sort of joy for you. You humanize the process of your overall strategy, or however you defined it, as you mentioned. And I have a BS line budget, right? That's the BS is for me, right?
Yes.
I keep it. I allocate a couple of $100 for it, because that's what it is. It's, we still, I'm not 100% saved in that space. So I'm always clear about that. And when I don't use it for the quarter, I move it to an investment that's my little corny process, right? Because there are things that I just haven't gotten away. So would you doing your process, right? You talk about some simple financial habits, right? How do people start planning or account for things that still make them tick without feeling guilty about it?
So one, I'm going to bring you back to your BS line in your budget. It belongs there. That is part of your budget. Like, there's nothing wrong with having the BS line. That's like the equivalent of your financial value or your workout class, or you know what I mean? Something that you actually label it for. It's still BS. Like, it's not stuff that we need to get through the month. It's something that makes us feel good to spend our money on. And I think that, but that is what helps people feel not guilty, is when they are doing all the things they need to do or they identify as a necessity. That takes away that guilt to then be able to do the things that they want to do. So if you're investing whatever that number looks like for them, or you're saving that specific amount, you're covering all your monthly expenses and your necessities, it's like, it's okay to take $200 for yourself every month and do whatever it is that you want to do with it, and feel really good about it because you've taken care of all of the other necessities. Yeah, and just identifying what you value, so that's the other thing, is that sometimes people are spending on things that are just not that important to them. And then when the things that are important for them comes up, it's like, oh, well, I don't really have the money to do it. It's like, well, yeah, because you went and bought some stuff that you don't even care about. It came in the mail. You got half excited, and then you threw it in the closet and you never used it, versus putting that $200 towards a vacation that you've been wanting to go on. And then after 6 months, now you got enough so that you can go on that girls trip that you had to miss last year because you didn't have the money. So yeah, really focusing on the things that we value, the things that are important to us, and directing our money there. And that's going to help take that guilt away.
Now, through your company, so I'm gonna for those who are watching via video, I am going to share, with permission of the boss.
Yes.
I don't like to share stuff. Then y'all be talking. Whatever. Anyway, y'all getting all of me today. And let me just show your website, because you have what I like about, first of all, it's clean, right? Shout out. The photos look good, right?
Thank you.
Good. And you talk about the first on your homepage, so future finance and fun. How is it that you are encouraging us to really understand that building your future is exciting? Like, how do you build that into through your coaching services for your clients, so that we can kind of, because let me put it like this. I know, so I've gone through one of your classes, right? That when we come into these spaces talking about money, finance, it's not sexy. It's not at all. How do you, or the fun part of it, the finance, building a future, Come on, financial therapist, because that's what you are.
Why is that not fun though? You don't want to you don't want to like really dream and like have some fun with your money? Like, I think it's amazing. Like, do you know how good it feels to have a savings account and there's money in it?
Yeah, I do now. I do now. But I'm not talking about now, right? I'm talking about because think about it. We have taken the responsible steps to do what, because this requires work. This requires deep work. So future finance fun. How do we get to the fun for real?
I think it's all fun. And I think that's the mindset shift there, because sometimes a lot of us have had some experiences with money that just have not been fun. Whether we've witnessed some things growing up or we've experienced some things, done some things that resulted into just not a desirable outcome with money. So yeah, that stuff is heavy, but it's like also like, when you think about like, let's talk about it in a sense of relationships and dating. Now, we might have had that partner that cheated, that just we don't want to be bothered with nobody else. Like, we're done. And then you meet that person, a new person, and you're like, wow, they make me feel safe. They plan dates, great conversation. We're having fun together. Like, I love being around them. Our values aligned. Like, this, I've never experienced anything like this. This is amazing. Like, why would you lose out on that? Like, why wouldn't you give yourself that opportunity to like have the same thing in your finances? Like, open yourself up for dating. It's like open yourself up for trying new things in your finances. It doesn't always have to be the person that cheats on you and creates chaos and brings unhappiness into your life. Allow yourself to experience something different. And when we can allow ourselves to experience something different, just the excitement and the newness of it and the thing, and it's like, oh, okay, this feels good. Doing this feels good. All right, that feels good. I encourage you to embrace it that way. So if you have to think about it as a relationship versus money, think about it that way, and don't allow past experiences or just things that we've done to like push us away from the opportunity of meeting that new person that actually could be all the things that we desire. And dating could be fun or it could be annoying, but you won't really know until you like go on a couple of dates and you try stuff out. And then it's like, all right, well, I like this, but I don't like that. So this is what I'm going to keep and this is what I'm not going to keep. But that was actually fun to just try it out. So I guess that's the way I'll talk about it in that way, because that's kind of fun for people. Or they can kind of just romanticize it in a way of something else that they're into that really excites them. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's something with their kids or whatever, and just match that to what it is that excites them and think of it in that way, from a creative way of like, okay, how can I mirror this for that painting class that I really enjoyed, or, whatever it is that they're into.
So I appreciated how you connected, if you're out there thinking about relationship building, dating from the dating perspective, to connecting it to what you talked about earlier is mindset, right? So one of the things that I'm learning as I've gotten older and more experience in certain areas is that what you think, right, you attract. And the more you are able to shift your mindset to things that you are visioning and dreaming, more than likely the universe will respond to those activities, to that vibe that you're giving off. And the more you dig deeper into what you believe your purpose is, it will happen, in my opinion, a little bit more rapidly. So I wanted to have you share, because I know that you mentioned that you are a mom, and I'm curious about how do you navigate, dealing that duality, being a business, being a mom. You may also have another place that you're engaged in to help you to build your wealth. What does that look like? And I can't say balance, but how do you prioritize what that looks like for you in your spaces.
Yeah, sometimes it can be difficult because it's like really no balance. It's like one or the other. And I just full transparency, I also work a 9 to 5. So my business is part-time, and sometimes that can be difficult because it's like, okay, well, I'm at this company for 8 hours a day, and then I'm doing my business in the evening times or on the weekend. And sometimes it does require me to take some days off from my 9 to 5 so I can show up in my business to do things as well, while also being in mommy mode. So it's really, yeah, sometimes some things just don't get done. Like, and that's just what it is, and it's usually the business stuff, right? Because, that's the part-time thing, or I create space for it on the weekends when I know that I have some free time and things are not going on. And then also the fact that my son this is his senior year. So I'm like really wanting to spend as much time with him as possible. So we do a lot of volunteering stuff together. And so I love to use that as our time together. And because we're both there, we're both volunteering for the same organization. And then I use that as us growing, and just really creating that mommy time. But he's also, very like, I want to do my own thing. When I get out of school, he wants to go in his room. He wants to game and be on the phone. Their virtual chat with his friends while they game. And I'm like, listen, I respect it. So he's just like, go do your thing. But I also know that, I want to spend as much time with him as possible. So I create those moments when I can. When I know I have the downtime, or I create space from my business because I'm just like, well, I don't need to do this thing. I could actually use this day or two to spend it with my son.
So I like the honesty, right? The honesty about where you are, that you do have another source of income coming in while you're still building the dream and mommy mode. So I'm curious about the tools that you have transitioned over to your son, and how was that? Did you share like the mistakes that you made with money? What did that conversation look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I include him, like I talk to him about money like I'm just talking to my homegirl or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, we're going, this is our grocery budget. What do you need from the grocery store? And he'll be like, I want cookies and cakes and all the things. And I'm like, all right, well, this is your limit. So what do you want? Cool. He understands that. Even, I talk to him about bills. I'm like, bills are due. And this is how we look at our money. And we have this amount of money. We have to make sure that we can cover our bills. And like, even when he had a summer job a couple of years, and then last summer he had an internship. And I was just really pointing out to him, like, your taxes, like where all these deductions are in your paycheck. And then, okay, let's now save some. Let's invest some, because he actually had access to New York State investment retirement thing, because it was a state internship type thing. And also, okay, here's your money that you can spend. And just keep it very simple for him, so he doesn't think like it's this big crazy thing that he has to follow. And I think by him seeing that I manage my money, we have structure with our finances, is not something that's uncomfortable. He does have a limit. So I tell him like $75 a month is your allowance. You want to buy a game, that's it. If you want to buy any more outside of that, you use your own money. And he is on it. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to use my $75 for this, and then I'm going to buy this with my own money. Like, okay, cool. And then some months he doesn't use it. But if we didn't have that conversation, it was at one point, which is why I did have the conversation with him, where he was like, oh, I want this and I want that. And I'm like, we're not just swiping just because, like, that's not how it works. So I include him in the conversations. And even when I was in a space of job uncertainty, I had the conversation. I said, look, my goal, I told him my goal is focusing on saving right now. So all the extras, we're going to pause on that until we get to a space where things calm down and we know what the next steps are. And I'm just sharing this with you just so that you know and you understand what's happening, but I don't want you to worry. And he's like, okay, cool. And there we were, So it's really being honest with our kids. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing where we're keeping secrets and we can't tell them about the bills and all these things. Like, no, like, there's a limit. There's a budget. Even if we are millionaires, there's still a limit. There's a budget, So yeah, that's how I incorporate personal finances with my son.
I think that is so freeing. Not only for, I'm saying me as a parent, because I have a 10-year-old and, she's the real CEO of the business. Like, that's, call it what it is. That's what she identifies. When we go to events, that's what she identifies as. And I have to tell you that my additional freedom of breaking down some of the challenges and issues that I've had in my past started with the fact when I started being more open about those conversations. And it's just freeing for me. I'm like, all right, this is what we got. We can't do. Oh, can I use the credit card? The credit card is not no, that's not what we talked about. Right. And just having those frequent engagements, I think makes it a lot easier, specifically for me. So I appreciate you joining in solidarity that this is happening in spaces, because when I grew up, it wasn't like that.
No. No
Looking
one was talking about money. No.
Nobody didn't know how it came in, didn't know how you got it, so I don't know. So in wrapping up our delightful, juicy conversation, right?
Yes.
That what are some tips that you can offer to the entrepreneur, the mom, those who are trying to figure out their finances to make it easier? But I also, before you answer that, right, I follow you on Instagram, and there was a post, not the snack one, the other one, about how either you talk to a client or your client saved $1,500 during a holiday because they had a conversation. Bundle that in your tips, like, specifically as we're recording it, this is right around December, the holidays are on and popping. Teach us the goodness and how we can be responsible, and still do the thing.
Yeah, it was such an empowering moment for my client, because the call that we had, she was like, my family, they are like, they always are asking for something and I buy it. Her spouse, he liked electronics, and she's like, he has so many electronics, half the stuff he doesn't use it. By the time it gets here, it just goes in the corner somewhere and it's just sitting there. And her daughter, because that was how life and the household was always ran, she was always asking and she was always receiving. So I said to her, and she's like, it just becomes, the holidays becomes just spending money and there's no real connection to it. So I said to her, okay, so how can you change that? And what does that look like? And she's like, well, I would like to do personalized gifts. And, I want to give, but I don't want to just buy stuff. Okay, let's have the conversation then. That's exactly what you communicate to your people versus just going with the flow and just doing what we've always done. Like, no, let's have a real conversation about what this looks like this year. Because regardless of where we are financially, I believe we still need some type of guide that we are following, even if we're someone that's in a space that we're giving and we're donating to organizations and different families for, the holidays and things like that. Okay, what's the budget? What is our limit? Are we doing $5,000? Are we doing $10,000? Are we doing $500? Right? And when you know what that looks like, now you can be realistic and have a conversation with your people. If you do want to buy and say, hey, what is it that you really want this year? Do you want an experience? Like, do you want to take like a trip to New York City and like do all the holiday stuff? Or do you want to travel? Or is there something on your wish list that's within $200 that you really want, versus, having our parents or our kids or whoever we buy for think that there's just this endless bucket of money that we're willing to spend, and that's not the case. And then now the whole next year we're trying to pay off that credit card because we just didn't have a conversation. And it goes back to what you just shared, is that transparency to say, this is where I am this year and this is what I'm comfortable with doing, or I'm not giving at all this year. Merry Christmas. Let's love on each other and move on. And I'm sure your family, or the people that we consider family, would be okay with that. And they might even be like, "Whoo, girl, I'm glad you said it, because I didn't want to I didn't want to buy the gifts anyway, And I think that's the other part of it, is because no one is talking about it. Everyone's just going along with it when they're stressed about it too, and they may not know how to bring it up or be the one to have the conversation. So they're like, well, I'm just not going to say anything at all, and I'm just going to do it. So yeah, I encourage people to really think about what they want their holidays to look like, or what they're willing to spend and do, and then communicate that to the people that it needs to be communicated to, and then follow through on it.
And I appreciate that. Now, how does that translate to the entrepreneur, business owner who may be just getting started, or they have team members? How do they effectively communicate, from your perception, about budgets and what in that vein?
Yeah, I mean, especially if they have a team, being the leader to say, this is what we're doing. These are the systems that we're going to use because this is part of the annual budget. But for people who may not have a team, being clear about what we are willing to spend on certain categories throughout the year. Because I even found myself at one point doing a lot of investing in education and training. And I'm like, I paid these people more than I paid myself. Wait a minute. But because it was like, oh, the business revenue was there, I could cover it. It wasn't like slowing down to say, okay, wait a minute, what do I want to focus on this year? What do I want to invest in that thing this year? Okay, that's the budget for that. And I'm not going to go over that. We can then revisit it at the end of the year to see if I want to do it the following year. So I really encourage people to slow down and really think about, what is it that they want to accomplish over the next year, and what is it going to cost? So doing some research to find that attorney you want to work with, or that marketing person, whoever, and then reaching out them to get some quotes and see what makes sense for your business before jumping into something. And then you have an idea of how much things are costing and what do you need for that, and say, okay, these are the things I'm going to do this year because this is what I have the budget for. So really slowing down, planning, and mapping out what that looks like based on, the revenue they have coming in, or what they want to pay themselves, and things like that.
And all of that goodness.
That was a mouthful.
All of that goodness. It was a good mouthful, right? So I appreciate when we have individuals come on the show and they tell the truth, because you can always tell when folks telling the truth, right? Because they ain't humming a henny. They just sharing their truth. Nishaea, where can we find you online? I got scrolling, but you on Instagram too.
I do have Instagram, but I'm not very heavy on there. I'll post, but I'm not, like, my playground is LinkedIn and Facebook. I started on Facebook, and now I'm, building on LinkedIn, but Instagram, I just can't figure it out. So I just kind of randomly post there.
It's working. Cause I'll be crap. Listen, I admittedly be doing a late night scrolling, and you're part of my algorithm, so it comes up more frequently. I'll be hollering. I said, but just check her out on Instagram. You'll see, because the content is different. We've learned to post content differently, but just, make sure you follow Nishaea Richardson on Instagram. Does have a website on LinkedIn, and happy to have you today. I really am.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
But before you go, because this is what I do, I got some rapid fun questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Coffee or tea?
Both.
Books or podcasts?
Oh, I would say podcasts.
Beach getaway or city adventure?
Beach all day.
Calling or texting?
Do not call me. Please text. Then we decide if we need a phone call.
Appreciate that. In 3 years, three. Where are you going to be taking your business? Where have you decided that you wanted to go?
This is a question that I actually am pondering right now. However, I have some clarity in the moment. And 3 years, I will have some courses that will be licensed to universities and schools and organizations for financial wellness. And I will be traveling and facilitating some trainings, but doing more courses and speaking, that type of stuff.
You better believe it. It's going to happen. I'm believing in it for you.
Yes.
I'm believing it for you. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love your energy that you bring. And I also appreciate how you're able to share, realistic resources to help us to grow to the next level. So salute to you. I'm sending you virtual kisses because that's what I like to do. And,
I catch it. I put it in my pocket.
I'm gonna try it again to see if it works, and it does. So I get
heart awesome.
That comes out when I do it. I didn't know this, and so I think that's really beautiful that it does come out. So shout out to the system that we use that's helping us to do this thing. So I love it. But thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to catching up with you again really soon.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take good care. So good friends. I hope that you chuckled and that you learned a bit about how you can navigate, being smart and fun and managing your finances through the process. As we talked about, that specific space is not always easy to talk about, but talking with Nishaea and her story about how she was able to navigate through that space to help her to become better so that she can teach me about making finances fun and also sexy. That's what I like to say. But I also am wanting to share some additional resources because, as we are in the space of sharing a lot of your, and this is for New York City, a lot of your tax dollars pay for some of the things that we may be aware of. So as an example, if you are looking for opportunity to file your taxes, New York City has free tax prep. The tax season, we're shooting this in December, already started if you're in business, but starting January 2026, if you earn $97,000 or less with qualifying children and or dependents, or $68,000 without qualifying children or dependents in 2025, you can file for free with an IRS certified volunteer preparer. And, this is, again, when you're thinking about entering into certain spaces and you're trying to discover how you're able to maximize on your tax dollar, this is one of the ways, right? Looking at your city and state and local municipality for things that can offset and things that you don't traditionally have to pay for, they exist already. You just have to Google search, as I say, still exists, Yelp. Some people may find this on TikTok, but definitely doing a search because these things are still in existence, but it is for free. You can go to nyc.gov, and this is actually connected to the New York City Consumer and Worker Protection agency, right? And again, these are things, and they also have a similar program for small businesses. Your expenses have to be under a certain dollar amount, but if you go here, you'll find the information is readily accessible for you and to you. And I want to just share that as we are in this space of sharing, I really enjoy just having a very fluid conversation about money. But I also wanted to remind you about, the importance of connecting with your network, right? Networking with intention, share resources, right? You don't have to gatekeep things that are out there unless it's something that you've actually created, right? Make sure you take the time to grow and become aware about where it is that you want to go. The libraries are a phenomenal resource, right? That's still in existence that you can get a lot of things, again, that our tax dollars contribute to that resource, right? Build your business acumen. How do you make money? How do you achieve goals? How do you learn to shift your mindset is some of the things that we can do to help us to become better. Nishaea was so awesome in talking about mindset and shifting your mindset and your relationship with money. And that mindset also includes understanding and deepening your overall purpose. You create opportunities when things come up, make sure that if you're in the space and you're looking to build relationships, because relationships honestly do take a bit, right? Think about, the analogy that was placed about when you deal with money or you're out there in the dating scene, what do you do? What pockets do you fill? How do you know what's what based upon building and taking time in those specific spaces? And then one of the other things I want to talk about in terms of networking with intention is the importance of following up based upon how you met the individual. Just listen to say, how. Understand that certain times of the year, most people may not be as responsive. Don't get offended, not really, but just understanding where people are and where they are in season. And I also wanted to share that at the timing of this recording, again, we're in the month of December. And I can tell you that a lot of people are having just a shift in energy, right? If you have friends out there or business owners that, may be, busy and hiding, just tap in, send a message, make a phone call, if that is their method of being engaged, but just keep the ecosystem of those that you love in mind, because you never know what people are experiencing, and you want to be mindful of the continuation and of building relationship, even if when you continue to tap in. So I am sending you a lot of love and light. I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Journey of the Entrepreneur. If you want to connect with 11375, we are on the platform, but please like and share to our channel. Follow us at 11375. I'm greatly appreciative of all who have supported us and looking forward to working with you all in the future. And on that note, I want to thank you again. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. When I think about motherhood and the space of entrepreneurship, it is two of the most scariest things that anyone who has chosen to be a mom can do. I love being a mother. I love being able to smile, share, grow, have my CEO in the making, observe what it's like to be a business owner, to be able to use the things that are coming out of our mind and create, being in meetings, doing community work, and creating a space that we want to create for long-term wealth. Both are equally challenging. Both are equally scary, but the beauty about being in this space of duality lets me know that when I see her smile, when I see her laugh, when she challenges me to be a better person, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment, solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.